Alright guys, how's it going? I just wanted to make a quick video today, kind of in a response to a video I seen online by Tech of Tomorrow entitled, "Does the GTX 1060 bottleneck using an FX 8350?" Their ending conclusion at the end of that was, no, not really at all. I extremely disagree with that statement, and I will show you why. Here's the settings we're running right now. Ultra settings, no memory restriction. You never want to turn this on because this turns on, or gives the game the ability to turn up and down the graphics quality based on how much power it's using. There's technical crap of how it works, but basically that's how it works. Yeah, DirectX 11, because DirectX 12 is terrible and you get terrible frame drops, sometimes down into the 30s for a significant period of time. It's basically unplayable. But I will spawn at my location here to spawn. As you can see here, the GPU is running at, or the CPU is running at 78%. That doesn't seem too bad. We're running 63 FPS, 50 FPS. This is far less than you will get if you go and look at the score or the FPS people are running with a 1060. I mean, look at that, we're down to the 30s. It's far less than what other people are running with like an i7 rig, or even an i3 rig, sadly enough, is way better than I'm running with this right now. I mean, that's 43 FPS, that's basically unplayable with a 1060. Here, we'll go, and then I'll start exposing some of the bottleneck. We'll go down to high. Alright, still in the 40s, 50s. What's going on here? But the CPU's not pegged at 100%. Why? How is this possible that we're bottlenecking at not 100% CPU usage? Alright, let's go down a little bit farther. Go down to medium. There's no reason you should have to run medium settings to get consistent 60 with the GTX 1060. Look at any video that someone's playing. It's just completely ridiculous. 58 FPS, 47 FPS. Now we're at 48% GPU usage and 86% CPU. Now we're clearly bottlenecking because we're only using 40% of our graphics card. Let's go down even farther. Let's go down to low. I mean, the game doesn't look terrible now, but it looks pretty bad. Look at that. 46 FPS. What in the hell is going on here? Why do we run 39 FPS at low settings? CPU just popped up to 92%. Okay, let's get a little bit crazy here. Let's go resolution scale, 25%. This is going to look terrible. Holy crap. It looks like watercolor. What the hell is going on here? Now we're at 29% GPU utilization and still at around 80 on the CPU. I'm not exactly an expert at this. I know a decent amount about computers, but the FX series of processors has a single scheduler per 2 cores. I don't know what in the hell AMD was thinking by doing this, but what I'm guessing, since this is an 8-threaded game on an 8-threaded 8350 CPU, and the fact that it only has one scheduler per 2 cores, I'm guessing that it is overwhelming that scheduler and it is incapable of sending 100% of what the game is getting to each core. So basically, since we're never pegging out at 100%, we're essentially at 100% because the scheduler has no capacity to do any better than that. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous performance in my opinion. I mean, some of the people say that, okay, well, your settings don't actually apply themselves till you leave a game. I'll turn my render scale back up since that won't really affect anything if I turn it down. There we go, 100% back. Zoom game. Alright, back to 100%. Still on low settings, so it looks like crap. Alright, leave the game. Not going to do any cuts here, any editing, just so no one thinks there's anything fishy going on here. This might take a couple minutes. Alright. Now we'll reload Conquest again. As far as what some people say, it doesn't actually apply the settings correctly until you leave the game. So we'll test that theory and see how well we're running. Obviously we're going to be in a different room, so it's not going to be a perfect test. But I've done this enough times that it doesn't matter. You still get terrible performance. Maybe a little bit better now, maybe in the 70s, but as soon as explosions start going on, there's a lot of people running around in a big room, it just goes haywire again. Like I get down into the 50s, which I'm on a 144 Hz G-Sync monitor, so it's pretty much unplayable at the 50 range to me. It lags so bad I can't even do anything. I think it's kind of funny, it says we're at 100 average up there. Yeah, okay. Oh, gotta love loading Battlefield 1 off of a hard drive. Alright, here we are. In the game. Spawn on the ground. What do you know? Options, video. 200% FPS limiter, low settings, no GPU restriction, no DirectX 12. 55 FPS. 57, 56. I'm sorry to anyone out there that is a die-hard AMD fanboy, but this is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous performance. And I don't think this has anything to do with optimization of the game, even though the game has got questionable optimization sometimes. Because an i3 6100 is a cheaper processor than an FX 8350 by $30 to $40, depending on if you get it on a good sale. Holy crap, I killed somebody. It is possible. Anyways, cheaper by $30 to $40 in some cases. The motherboard's usually a little bit more expensive, and then you're required to go with, DDR4 RAM, which has its own advantages to itself. But if a $110 CPU is able to outperform a $160 8-core CPU, and it's just a dual core with hyper-threading, so it's a dual core 4-thread CPU, is able to outperform this by pretty much double. If you look at Gamers Nexus reviews on this situation, they show that you run around the 111 average FPS mark with a 6100, i3 6100. That's almost double what I'm running at right now. Look at that, we're in the 40s, 45 FPS. Just to prove that I'm not using like some like an A8 setup or something like that. We'll now just alt tab. Alright, here we go. This FX 8350 GTX 1060. Here we are. Specs 8350 GTX 1060. There we are. This is the MSI Gaming X Edition 970 motherboard. Default frequency of RAM, whatever. I mean, for the specs that I have in this computer, there's absolutely no reason I should be getting this bad of performance with it. If I have to delete the game and reinstall the game just to get it to run right, which could potentially be a problem, I don't really see that helping. I really don't. I think it just boils down to a extremely old CPU, even though I just built my computer 6 months ago, or well, about a year ago now, or what it is. But if you plan on playing this game, do not, for any reason, buy an FX 8350. Don't buy an 8370. Don't buy an 8350 with the plans to overclock it, because I've overclocked to 4.4 gigahertz, which should give you, in theory, some kind of an advantage with no FPS increase. It's so bad how bad this graphics card bottlenecks. I went from a GTX 960 4GB to a GTX 1060 6GB and got 0 FPS increase for an 80% more powerful graphics card. That is absolutely pathetic. So in short, in closing, don't buy this CPU. For God's sake, if you have to, buy an i3 processor if it doesn't fit into your budget, but do not buy an FX 8350.